Did you know that you can extract full website contents utilizing OS Query and then apply that information as context to existing queries to eliminate manual analysis, really up-level your results and save you time? Yeah, pretty awesome. A little bit complex, but don't worry, AI Query makes it easy. Let's hop in the tech and show you exactly how. All right, so one of the recurring themes you've absolutely heard me talk about on basically all of these videos, it's the underlying value prop of AI Query, in my opinion, is time savings and efficiency. Usually I'm referring to the AI component to offload a lot of the actual minimal labor and syntactical nuance, or I'm referencing to the data itself that can be gathered to complement XYZ use case. However, just as important as those two things is how to make sense of the data that's gathered, and that can be done with a proper query on the front end so that you actually don't have to have any manual analysis. Now, to showcase how that works, what we have here is a Windows Defender update history query from our last video. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend go and check it out on our LinkedIn page. It's featured here below if I'm good enough at video editing to get it to stick there. But without further ado, so again, we're looking at Windows Defender update history. Pretty cool query, just going ahead, extracting the Windows event log. But effectively what we're trying to do is prove how AI Query can help validate the technical requirements of a given compliance mandate. And specifically, we're looking at NIST SP 800-171 requirement 314.4, which is update malicious code protection mechanisms when new releases are available. That last part's the important part. So this gives us the information that if we just go ahead and we sort on date time right here, we can see, okay, latest, boom, this is what we have as far as the newest version for us. But how do we get Microsoft's latest version? Well, we have this information. We can easily cross-reference it by going to their website and checking out right here. All well and good, but that still requires manual analysis. Very simple when I'm querying one device, but what happens if you're querying thousands of devices and you want to do this on a recurring schedule to make sure you're constantly up to date, ensure that continuous compliance? Well, that's exactly what we're going to go through today of how you can actually add in additional context into the query to offload that manual analysis. So this is exactly how we're going to do it. We'll go to query overview and we'll hit edit and rerun query. All right, and here we are on the actual create query page with our query in question. Just for the sake of simplicity, let's go ahead and remove a number of these fields so that we're only focusing on the one that we actually want to do the operator against to confirm whether it's up to date, just for the sake of the video, make it nice and simple. And then we'll hit refine AI, which will allow us to alter this query as needed. So one of the first things we can do actually very quickly is just say, only the most recent result, because what we're going to do is we're going to add in context for the comparison of the version to say, really, we only care about, for the sake of validating that compliance mandate, whatever the most recent version is, like what's the current version, is that up to date? And so then now what we'll do is instead of refining this further, right yet, what we'll do is we'll go over to generate, and we're actually going to generate a second query using a curl mode, which I stuck behind compliance just so I didn't have to hit the API before actually adding it to the UI, but a mode here that's leveraging the curl table. And what we'll say is extract the platform version from the following URL. And then I will copy and paste over the Windows Defender. And as you can see, it's this platform version. What you also may notice is that it says product version in the logs. So yes, there's a mismatch between the logs and the documentation. That's not us, that's Microsoft, but whatever. You can get around that, and I'll show you exactly how with the comparison statement. And we can see very quickly it generates a very simple query that's doing curl, which again is the curl is curling against the URL provided, extracting the result back as HTML, and then what we're doing is we're doing regex matching over that to look for platform version and the applicable version number. So we have our query, very simple, very good. And then now all we want to do is add it back to the original query so that now we can always not only get what the current version is, but compare that against whatever the most up-to-date version is as that curl command is being run when you run the query. So we'll do refine, and we will say, add in the following query to compare the product version and platform version fields. If they match, return up to date as true, otherwise return false. And then we copy and paste in our query, and we let AI work its magic about figuring out how we're going to combine these two super different queries together. But genuinely, that is actually one of the main things and how I like to use refine and the tool in general, is that while it's all well and good to say, I have this problem, here's this query, boom, problem solved, just simple ask AI, it generates a query, great. For some more complex ones, I like to piecemeal it out, not just within our AI, just an AI in general, does a really good job at giving it smaller defined tasks and then saying, cool, now let's combine them. So what we have here is we have a with statement, right, for latest event, which is effectively what the original query was, as we can see. And then we also have down here as platform info, which is actually going to be some of the curl contents, and then it joins them together with this actual up to date being 1 or 0, so binary. So should be all good to go. What we'll do is we'll go on ahead and hit accept. We'll add a little context to the title here and say with verification of latest. And then let's just throw in a couple more devices because, again, it's really easy to do the one-to-one manual check and analysis for a one-to-one device, but if you had hundreds, thousands, makes it a little difficult. And then you can see the nice fancy query, which looks very complex, but again, it was one query to generate the Windows Defender update history, one for the curl command, and then combining the two. So what we'll do is we'll hit execute, and then we'll pivot on over and check out the results coming in here in a moment. And we actually already have the results. Awesome. I should have introed that instead of clicking through, but what are you going to do? So 1 was up to date if we recall from the query. Again, we could have changed that to say true false, but we just had 1 or 0, just kept it binary, nice and easy. And as we can see, the product version and then the platform version, which is pulled from the curl table. And then we have up to date being 1, saying, hey, these match, it's up to date, all well and good. Obviously, this is one minor example. You could do it for many other aspects. You could have done it for the version, engine version, what have you, or just basically any other context. The whole point here, whether we're using the curl table or just something in general, is to say, hey, not only can you gather additional data, but if you add context and take the extra 2 seconds on the front end to add that additional context into your query results, you're not having to do the manual labor on the back end. So put in a little bit of effort in the front end, which AI will help you with. And in the back end, you have your results nice and simple, and there you have it. So that's how you can enrich results, make more sense of your data, and verify continuous compliance with AI query. So hopefully that was helpful. Check out our YouTube and LinkedIn for more videos and product information. And otherwise, check y'all next time. See ya.